Today we're focusing on shoulders and upper back flexibility. And just to give you a bit of context, I just wanted to share something with you. So I'm going to share my screen now. Give me a second. Share screen, desktop. Okay, so you should be able to see this PowerPoint slide now. So the reason that shoulder flexibility is important for what we do in circus is that we really need to be able to get a full range of shoulder overhead motion. If, for example, we want to get a really nice straight handstand line, if you can't fully open your shoulders overhead, then your handstand might look a bit like this. And it's also really important just for what we think of as very simple hanging from our apparatus, whether it's a rope or a trapeze. And when we talk about the upper back, we're talking about kind of the region from the shoulder blades to like the middle of our back. And one thing that a lot of people might not realise here, I didn't realise until very recently, is that our upper back, which is also called the thoracic spine, actually doesn't bend a lot. So this is an image of a contortionist in a chest stand in an X-ray machine. And you can see that this section here is really, really straight, and that's her thoracic spine or her upper back. So it really doesn't bend much. So a lot of people kind of get frustrated with their upper backs and how stubborn they seem to be, but we need to bear in mind that we're not going to get a lot of movement from them anyway. And this is because the rib cage is attached to it, and our rib cage is stiff for a very good reason, and that it protects our heart and our lungs. So we kind of need to address our expectations of our upper back. That said, we do obviously need a bit of movement in our upper back, as you can see in this bridge. If we want to get this really nice open shoulder position, we do need some movement in our upper back, but a lot of it is coming from our shoulders. Okay, so let me just get you all back. Okay, so we'll start with a bit of a warm-up, and then we'll move on to some soft tissue release. So we'll work on some of the muscles that can limit our upper shoulder and back flexibility. And then we'll go through some specific conditioning exercises for our shoulders, and we'll finish with a few stretches. So let's all stand up. I'll just put you in a position where you can see me standing. That should be okay. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom up. So we'll just start by mobilising the ankles. So making circles in one direction. And in the other direction. And then with the knee. And changing directions. And then with the hip. Try and focus on a point on the ground, it'll help you keep your balance. And changing direction. And swapping to the other leg, circles with the ankle. And going the other direction. And up to the knee. Changing direction. And then the hip. And the other way. And then we'll just do little hip circles. Going the other way. Oh, everyone carry on with that. Someone else is trying to join. Okay, and now we'll do mobilizations with our rib cage. So going forward, to the side, back, to the other side. So you're drawing a circle with your rib cage, trying to keep your hips in the same place. And changing directions. Okay, and then we'll do some circles with our arms. And then making these circles smaller, so they're at the side instead. Changing direction. And then going back to big circles. And then finally, just on next, go to one side and do a slow semicircle, over to the other side. Your chin coming down to your chest, but not tipping it back. And then coming back to the center, and just gently looking up and down. Okay, so just to get our heart rate up a little bit, we'll do a little bit of jogging now. And then you're going to bring your knees up. And then kicking your bum. And then we'll do star jumps. Okay, and then we'll do something I'm calling roll to standing. So lie down on your back and bring your knees into your chest, and then we're going to do a little rock up and down the spine. And then you'll gradually make these rocks bigger, and then try to stand up. And then go back down, rock again, and go back to standing. So we'll do a few more of these. Okay, so now we'll go into a tabletop position. And we're just going to thread the needle, so opposite hand comes under your other arm, and you bring your shoulder down to the floor. So that should give us a bit of a twist in our upper spine. And then we're going to bring that arm out and twist up towards the ceiling. And we'll repeat that again. So arm under, threading the needle, bringing it back up towards the ceiling. And then we'll swap to the other side. So threading the needle on the other side. And opening up towards the ceiling on the open side. And again, threading the needle and opening up. And then while we're here, we'll just go through a few rotations in Happy Cat and Sad Cat. So you can start on either one and just explore bending to either side. And then you can add in going up to Sad Cat and again just bending either side. And just go through a few rotations in both directions. Okay, and now we're just going to do a little bit more twisting. So we're going to twist to look behind us, following the arm. Keep your knees soft, your legs don't have to be locked out. And then we're going to take that down, so bring your upper body down into a pike position, so like this. And then your opposite arm is going to come to the opposite foot. You're going to extend the other arm out and then swap between, so you're always reaching to the outside of your opposite foot. So we're just trying to warm up your spine here and get the twisting. Okay, how's everyone doing? All okay? Cool. It's difficult because I can't see everyone, I can just see myself, which is not very helpful. Okay, so now we'll do a few conditioning exercises just to warm up our shoulders. So we're going to get into a plank position. I'll take your socks off. A bit slidey doesn't help. So we're in our plank position. Make sure you're tucking your pelvis under. Oh, someone chatting to me. Oh yes, I could do gallery view, couldn't I? Okay, yeah, I've got you all on gallery now. So, am I still spotlight or? Yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Rian. Okay, so we're in our plank position. Make sure you're tucking your pelvis under, so that means you're not sticking your bow out like that, you're not arching your back. And from here, we're going to do some shoulder shrugs. So, using just your shoulders, we're not bending our arms here. We're using just our shoulders to come down and press up. So think about pressing up into your upper back. Okay, so now we're going to go into kind of a half downward dog, half plank position. So it's not your full downward dog. Come forward from there. So there's a bend in your shoulders and arms. Not your arms, sorry, in your shoulders. And from here, we're going to try and drop our elbows down towards the ground. So it doesn't have to be a big movement. This one can feel a bit weird. So just go as far as you're comfortable with. And from there, we'll go into a full downward dog. So now there should be a straighter line between your shoulders and your back. And then we're going to do the same again. So just dropping the elbows towards the ground. Again, this is quite a weird feeling. Don't go too far if it's uncomfortable. Okay. So that's the warm up. Is everyone feeling good and warm, ready to stretch? Yeah, cool. So first of all, we're going to do some soft tissue work. So this is basically using our foam roller or our massage ball to kind of work on tightness in muscles that we need for shoulder flexibility. So the first one we're going to do is the pec muscle. So I'm just going to move you over here with me. So for this, you're going to use the massage ball. It's a bit harder with a foam roller, this one. So ideally you want to get against a wall or a door frame. And with the massage ball, if you've got a peanut like me, just use one half of it. And you want to find the kind of pokey out bit of your shoulder, so there. And then go in a little bit to where it starts to dip. And that's where you want to put the massage ball. And then you want to find your wall, your door frame, and basically keeping it in the same place, jam it against the wall. And then what we can do, you might need to use the other hand to keep the ball in place. You can then move that arm on the side that you're massaging. You can move that up and down. You can't quite see it on me. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong side. I'll do the other side so you can see. So you're moving your arm up and down like that. So if you just do about 3 or 4 repetitions of the arm up and down, and then you can change and find a slightly different spot. So this should feel like kind of when you visit when you have a sports massage. It's nothing too aggressive or painful. We don't want any numbness or tingling. So if you found a spot that makes your fingers tingle, your arm tingle or anything, just move away from that. So one of the reasons it's quite important to work on your pecs like this is because in aerial, we spend a lot of time with our shoulders pulled forward and in this kind of position, which means our pecs get really tight, and they're really important for stabilizing your shoulder blade, and they essentially pull it forward like that. So we're trying to relax that muscle so that our shoulders can be more free to move. So that's the pecs done. The next one we'll do is our lats and our rotator cuff. So for this, we want to lie down on the floor. So if you've got a foam roller, this one's pretty simple. It's just a case of, oh, and you didn't do the other side. Okay, carry on with the other side. Has everyone else finished their pec massaging? Yeah, okay. By the way, this is something that you probably would spend a lot more time doing. I'm doing it very briefly here. So for the lats, they're basically coming up here on our side under our arm. If you've got a foam roller, you just want to kind of get on your side, kind of tilting slightly up towards the ceiling and rolling back and forth. And again, with the arm, you can bend it, straighten it, twist it, rotate it, just get a few different movements. If you've got a massage ball, what you might need to do for this one is put it on top of your book or your yoga block. And again, just get it in the same position on the side. The massage ball will be a bit more targeted for this one. So you want to try and find about 3 different spots and then do 3 or 4 arm movements there. Bringing your arm up overhead is really good. It should change the sensation slightly. By moving it, allows us to get slightly different muscle fibers. And then we'll stay on the same side, but now you want to position it more so it's on the back of your shoulder. So kind of by here. And just get into that position again, but it's slightly higher up. This is where all the areolas start to complain. This is quite sore. You might not want to do such big movements here if it's a bit more sore, but you can kind of rotate your arm. Okay, so we'll move over to the other side. So starting with the lats again, so slightly more under your arm and on the side. And then you can, once you've done your lat, you can start moving up towards the rotator cuff. So again, more on the back of your shoulder. If it's quite uncomfortable, try taking a few deep breaths. It shouldn't be painful. This is just more meant to be something that's productive. So forget no pain, no gain. It's not true here. Okay, so the last one we're going to do is our upper back. So this is where you do need the foam roller. Has anyone got a peanut like me? No, I don't think so. Okay, so I'll assume you're using a foam roller or something like a towel rolled up yoga mat, bottle, whatever you've managed to fashion for this. So we want to position the foam roller. We're going to lie back on it, and we want it to be just kind of at the bottom of our shoulder blades. So just try and roll around a bit and find that position. So then we're going to put our hands on our head, and we're just going to really gently allow our spine to kind of bend over the roller. You might get a few cracks and crunches here. It's pretty normal. As long as nothing's painful, it's okay. So So we're bending over the roller and slowly coming back up. And then you can roll slightly higher up, so now it's more in line with your shoulder blades. And you won't get much bend here, but we're doing the same thing, so just lowering our head and slowly bringing back up. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on. Like I said, I would probably spend a good 10 minutes going through them if I was training. So we're doing it very quickly here. So next we're going to do a nerve glide from median nerve. This is a nerve that runs down from the neck down the arm, and it can be quite tight in some people. Nerves don't like to be stretched in the same way as muscles, so we have a slightly different approach to improving their mobility. So with a nerve glide, it shouldn't feel like an intense stretch. It's a much gentler sensation. A lot of you probably know what a nervy feeling, what a nervy stretch feels like. You often get it with the neck and kind of fingertip ones. So it's that kind of feeling. So for this, you need to be by a wall or a door frame. So just let everyone get in the right position. Okay, so you're going to put one arm out onto the wall and you want to keep it about shoulder level, and your palm is facing the wall and your fingers are facing down. So then what we're going to do, we're going to, bear in mind my body is now in line with my arm. I'm going to turn my body away from the wall, and this gives me a stretch kind of here under my arm and my shoulder. And then as you turn away, you're going to come up onto your fingers and try and turn away a bit more. And then you're going to come back to facing the wall. So you're facing the wall, turning away, coming up onto your fingers, and coming back. If you're not getting much of a sensation, you can skip the coming up onto your fingers. We'll do a few more of these on this side. Okay, and let's swap onto the other side. Okay, so was that okay for everyone? Yeah, cool. If you don't get much of a sensation doing that, you might not have nerve tension there, which is normal. A lot of people do have it though. So we're going to move on to some exercises now. But before we do that, there's just a few kind of concepts I wanted to explain. So when we're working with our shoulders overhead, as we do in aerial handstands, a lot of the time we need to think about shrugging our shoulders up. So what I mean by that is, anyone who hand balances, you'll know, so you want to try and think about pushing your shoulders up towards your ears. So you're narrowing that gap between your ears and your shoulders. So we're calling that shoulder shrug. Yeah, everyone's doing that, that's good. And The second thing is basically to do with the way our shoulder or the joint of our arm is orientated in the socket. So this is called external rotation. And this is really important for when our arm is overhead, because it basically protects our shoulder and stops some of the tendons getting pinched from. So what this means is basically, you see my thumb up there. So it basically means moving my thumb backwards, but this rotation is not coming from just my just below my elbow. It's coming from my shoulder, and I'm turning my arm inwards from the armpit. So I think about it as imagine you're approaching someone like this. I know you wouldn't do that, but imagine you're trying to hug them with your armpits. So that should make you kind of turn your armpits in towards each other slightly, and it should also make your thumbs turn backwards. Is everyone getting that? Yeah, looks good. So a lot of the exercises, we need to think about doing this shoulder shrug, and we need to think about doing this twist with our armpit, okay? So we're shrugging up and we're externally rotating our arm. If anyone does hand balancing, then you'll be more familiar with this. Okay, so we'll move on to some exercises now. So the first one, we need a water bottle or whatever you've got as a weight. Okay, so you can do this sitting or standing, it doesn't matter. I'll just get it so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to hold that weight overhead in one arm, and with the other hand, we're going to put it on our rib cage. And so basically we're going to do that shoulder shrug we just talked about, so pushing that weight up, and at the same time we're going to try and rotate our armpit in. And what our other hand is doing is feeling our ribs and making sure that our ribs are staying in and they're not flaring out. So ribs are in while we're doing this. So we're going to do 5 on each arm. So shrugging up, trying to pull the armpit in and down again. Okay, and swapping to the other side. So shrugging up and pulling the armpit in. Make sure you're keeping your elbows straight when you're doing this. You don't have to bring your arm all the way back down, it's just a case of letting your shoulder relax and coming out of that shrug. Okay, so the next one we're going to do against a wall, and you need your resistance band or the socks or the tights or whatever you've got. So I'll just put you over here. So you want to sit in a tuck position with your toes touching the wall. And then you're going to put the band around your wrists. Okay, and then we're going to extend our arms so they're touching the wall just with the fingertips. And then what you're going to do, you're going to shrug your shoulders forward, so just like that shrug we just did, and try and bring them up overhead. And at the same time, you're pushing into that band kind of that way. So you're keeping the band really tall. And then as we're doing this, when we're at our end range overhead, we're really thinking about that armpit cue, so hugging someone with our armpits at the top. And then we'll come back down and relax, and we'll do a few more reps of that. So has everyone got that? Is everyone okay? Yeah, that looks good, everyone. So the reason we're doing this sitting in a tuck is that it means that we can't use our lower backs to compensate for our shoulders, which is something that people do a lot, especially in circus. So we'll do a few more of these. So really shrugging your shoulders up, pushing out against the band, and turning your armpits in towards each other. This should be quite a slow and controlled movement. You don't want to rush it. You might feel a point where you're getting as far overhead as you can and you find it really hard to keep your armpits rotating in. That's probably the point you need to work on. Okay, so everyone's done a few of them. Cool, that looks good. Awesome. So the next one, we need a chair for. So you're going to get your chair or sofa, whatever, anything that's like this height is fine. You're going to put that band around your wrists again. Oh, sorry, it's actually a bit higher up, so just underneath your elbows for this one, so about here. So what we're going to do, we're going to kneel in front of our chair, and you're going to kind of be in a, almost like a tabletop position. What's really important here is that your back is rounded, so it's not arched, you're not sticking your bum out. This makes it a lot harder. These kind of exercises make you realise how much your lower back is doing your back bending for you and not your shoulders. So you can come down to almost as far as you can go, keeping your back flat and your shoulders and arms straight. Come up a little bit from there, so we're not working at our very end range. And then you're going to bend your arms and put your hands together, so almost like in prayer position. And then you can look down at the ground, and what you're going to do is try to open your hands. So this is a lot harder than it looks. So I'm just going to watch everyone. Yeah, that looks really good. If it looks hard, you're probably doing it right. And it should be only a really small movement. Like when I first started doing this, I could hardly get my hands apart by like a centimetre. So what this is doing, it's basically training the muscles in between your shoulder blades that help to externally rotate your arms. And these muscles are part of the rotator cuff, which is really important for stabilizing our shoulders. Cool, so once everyone's done about 10 of them, we'll move on.
Yeah, I know we leave out there. Cheers.
Hopefully that one was quite burny. I get some significant shoulder burning with that one. Okay, cool. So it looks like everyone's finished that. So now we'll move on to some more kind of upper back and spine based exercises. So for this one, we're going to lie on the floor. And you're going to put your arms out to the side. And then you're going to let your hips come over to one side. And it's quite hard to explain. So the one leg on the top is going to come underneath the bottom leg, so it kind of traps it in place. So you shouldn't be able to lift up that bottom leg. Can everyone see the position I'm in? I can't quite see everyone now, but
We have to keep both our shoulders on the ground.
no, so just your shoulder on the side you're leaning towards.
So the knee on the ground is more important than the back shoulder. Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't, well, unless you've got very good flexibility, you won't be able to get that shoulder to the ground. So once we're in this position, you can put something under your head if it makes it more comfortable for your neck. So we're going to put our hands together and we're going to open up the arm, take it across the other side, and what we're thinking about is trying to get our other shoulder to the ground on the other side. You probably won't be able to do that. I think you'd have to have very, very flexible upper back to do this. So even though this isn't back bending per se, your upper back and your thoracic spine actually has a lot more twist than it does bend. So twisting is also really good for your upper back. Think about really reaching out with that hand as you bring it over. And the knee you've pinned down shouldn't be coming off the ground. Okay, I'll just do another 2 of these. Okay, and then we'll swap over to the other side. The shoulder you're lying on shouldn't be directly underneath you, it's more kind of shifted forward compared to your chest. Again, really think about pushing out with that arm you're leading with. And think about using your muscles to try and pull your shoulder blade towards the ground on the other side. It's not just a passive exercise, we're not just relying on gravity for this. Okay, we'll just do 2 more of these. Okay, so we have one more exercise. So we need our foam roller again for this, or whatever object you've managed to come up with. So this is similar to how we did the upper back release. So we want it in a similar position, so just kind of under our shoulder blades. What we're going to do this time, we're going to think about combining what we've been doing with the shoulder exercises where we were shrugging up and rotating our armpits in, but we're going to do that over the foam roller to help get some more movement in our back. So you're going to start with your arms out towards your knees. You're going to really shrug your shoulders up, think about rotating, and slowly bend back over the foam roller. Imagine as if you're trying to get your thumbs to the floor. You don't have to get your thumbs to the floor. It's not really the goal. It's more about feeling the engagement in your shoulders and opening in your upper back. Okay, so we'll do 10 of them. I'll just have a little watch for everyone. Yeah, that looks good, everyone. Okay, just do a few more of these. On the last one, if you want, you can hold in that extended position for a few seconds. Just remember to breathe. Okay, so they're all the exercises done. Is everyone feeling okay? Yeah, cool. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and we'll just do a few stretches now. So these exercises, they're basically kind of to help you to start using muscles actively in these kind of extreme stretches. We won't do any bridges or back bending because you need to have done a lot of work on your lower back and your hips for that. But we will just do some shoulder stretches and also a lat stretch. Having warmed up all these muscles, hopefully we're feeling nice and flexible. So get your chair again. And we also need a book or a yoga block and the band. So similar to what we did earlier, we're going to be kneeling near the chair. You want the band around your elbows. If you've got short arms like me, you can put it a little bit below your elbows. And then you want to hold the block in between your hands like this. Yeah. Cool. So then we're going to put our elbows on the chair. And again, we're going to make sure our back is rounded. So no arching your back like this. Our lats come from the very bottom of our back all the way up our spine. And if we're arched, we can't stretch them. They're hard to stretch anyway. But the best way to do it is to try and round your back as much as possible. And then we're going to try and open up our shoulders. And holding the book helps us keep our arms externally rotated, which is the opposite of what our lats do, so that helps stretch them. So lats are hard to stretch. I don't feel much in particular. What we're hoping to feel is something kind of down the side of our trunk and on the side of our shoulders. So we'll just hold that position for about 30 seconds. I'll just have a look at everyone. Yeah, that looks good. Make sure your back's flat or rounded, not arched. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, so yeah, just to say that stretching our lats is actually quite important because our lats pull our arms down to our body, and they also turn our arm in, which is the opposite of what we want to increase our shoulder flexibility, which is bringing our arms up and externally rotating them. So our lats can impede that movement a bit, especially because we use them so much in circus. So the next stretch is one more for our shoulders. So again, we're using the chair. We don't need any blocks or bands for this. You're just going to put your palms face down on the chair. You want to be a bit further back. And then you're going to go into your tabletop position this time, but we're going to allow our backs to arch and we're going to really open up our shoulders. So you need to be thinking about shrugging your shoulders up and rotating them again, because this is a safer position for your shoulders to be in overhead. So while you're all doing that, I'll just talk. So what's quite common in this position is to feel a pinching in the front of your shoulder, kind of here. If anyone has that, you need to think about shrugging up more and externally rotating more. So that's the hugging someone with your armpits cue. If that's not helping, go out of the stretch a bit. So don't stretch your very end range. So we'll keep holding this for another 20 seconds or so. You can look down at the floor or up at your arms, doesn't really matter. Make sure you're not holding too much tension in your neck. And what we'll do now is we're staying in this position. We're going to push down into the chair for 10 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then relax, take a deep breath and see if you can go a little bit lower. Again, if going lower gives you any pinching in your shoulders, just come out of it. Try to make sure you're keeping your elbows straight, so you're not bending your arms doing this. Okay, now we'll just slowly come out of that. Okay, so there are all the stretches I wanted to do. If anyone wants to carry on after this and do some bridges, you can. I would just probably warm up your hips a little bit, your lower back. And one way you can make your bridges more targeted for your upper back is to put your feet on a higher surface than your hands. So what you can do is use yoga blocks or books, stack them up and then have your feet on them while you do your bridge. Or you can go even higher up, have your feet on the sofa, just make sure it's something sturdy. You can also do a bridge with your chest facing the wall and really think about trying to get your chest to the wall, and that'll help you get more into your upper back.